What is going on, everyone? I hope you are all having a fantastic day. So yesterday we finally saw the massive, much anticipated proposal from the House that has a very good chance of passing, and it is known as the HEROES Act. So if you missed that video, be sure to check that out. However, we do have a new idea from the economic advisors within the White House that would give you $5,000 immediately and would not add to our national deficit or debt in any way. And just by those two parameters alone, this is one of the best ideas we have seen, in my opinion, and could very likely be added to the HEROES Act that we looked at yesterday. So let's break down exactly what this would consist of and how this $5,000 could actually net you over $100,000 if you use it wisely. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on everything that's going on, and hit the like button if you do enjoy today's video. Let's jump right into it. Alright, so all of the proposals we have seen so far have been some form of direct payment, payroll boost, payroll tax cut, or something along those lines. But all of these proposals would involve us either borrowing money or printing more money and adding to our national deficit. And because of that, Republicans are opposed to most of these ideas, meaning that it'll probably never make it through the Senate. That is with the exception of the HEROES Act that we talked about yesterday, so be sure to check out that video. However, this new idea would give you $5,000 that is borrowed against your future Social Security benefits. Now, before you go freaking out that Social Security money is going to be gone, let me explain. The proposed idea would give you $5,000 right now, and then when you decide to withdraw your Social Security benefits down the road, you would have to wait 3 additional months in order to start receiving your maximum payments. So you can start taking out your Social Security benefits when you're 62, and you can wait all the way up until 67, and the longer you wait, the higher your payments would be. So let's say you decide to start taking your benefits at 65, then you would have to wait an additional 3 months before receiving your full Social Security benefit. I really cannot say that. Social Security. If you have no idea what Social Security is, then take a look at your last paycheck and you'll probably see that one of, if not the largest deduction or tax on your paycheck is for Social Security. Pretty much every US worker pays into the system, and in 2019 alone, these Social Security benefits accrued over $38 trillion. And remember, this money didn't just appear out of thin air, it's been taken out of every paycheck you have ever received since your very first job. So this is earned money that you will be given back once you start cashing in on your Social Security benefits. So really, all this is doing is taking an early payment now, and you just have to forego those payments in the future in order to pay it back. Now, another important point about this idea is that it is an opt-in system, meaning that it is completely voluntary and you do not need to take this money if you don't need it or want it right now. And that means that when you do decide to cash in your Social Security down the road, you would not have to wait those additional 3 months. However, if you do decide to opt into this idea, then you would receive your $5,000 now and would have to pay it back to yourself at an interest rate that the advisors who propose this idea are calling, quote, a specific and favorable interest rate until the time that they choose to claim Social Security. This is different from the $1,200 from the CARES Act or HEROES Act that we looked at yesterday, since this was not an opt-in system, and everyone who qualified automatically received that $1,200 payment that is theirs to keep and use however they want. So since this is just an idea, there are no specific details on what that interest rate would actually be, but I'm sure it would be quite low, and I have a feeling a lot of people would take advantage of this whether they need the financial support right now or not. I mean, if you're in your 20s or 30s right now, you have another 30 to 40 years before you can even cash in on your Social Security benefits. So at that point, what is another 3 months of waiting? Now, obviously, this would greatly depend on where your financial situation is at in your mid-60s, but hopefully by then you have a sizable investment account either in a Roth IRA or 401k, so waiting another 3 months for these benefits probably won't be a huge deal. But getting $5,000 now could be the difference between keeping a roof over your family's head or getting evicted by your landlord. So maybe you would use this money for the essentials, or maybe you'd use it to buy a new car, go on vacation, or hopefully stimulate your local economy by spending it at your local businesses. However, even if you don't need the money right now to survive, anyone with a basic knowledge of compound interest would probably still take this benefit, because if you got your $5,000 today, you could invest that at a much higher return than the favorable interest rate and come out way ahead down the road. So I'm in my 20s, for example, so if I took this $5,000 now and invested it for the next 43 years at a 7% interest rate, that $5,000 would be worth over $100,000 when I am old enough to cash in on my Social Security benefits. So I'd easily be able to pay back the favorable interest, cover my expenses for that 3-month waiting period, and have plenty of money left over to live and give like no one else.
Live and give like no one else.
So all of this sounds pretty good, but we've been down this road before. So what are the chances of this actually getting passed? Well, who knows, because it's just an idea in the White House right now. But if you ask me, with a formal proposal from the right names in the House, this has a very high chance of happening since it appeals to both Democrats and Republicans' point of view on the next stimulus payment. Remember that Democrats want some sort of recurring monthly payment like the Emergency Money for the People Act or the Economic Crisis Support Act that we looked at on Monday. Both of these plans involve some sort of direct payment every single month for a given period of time. However, as we've talked about, Republicans are pretty opposed to that and are concerned about the ballooning national debt. But this could be combined with the HEROES Act that we looked at yesterday to make a pretty solid stimulus bill that makes everyone happy. So with the Democrats currently controlling the House, the Republicans controlling the Senate, it's very unlikely that any of these more lofty proposals would actually get passed in their current form. But this Social Security idea would give direct payments to Americans who need it so badly without adding to our national deficit in any way. And when Democrats and Republicans are both satisfied with a bill like this, many of those political roadblocks suddenly disappear. So we would need to see this proposed in an actual bill, and that $5,000 number could be changed one way or another, but it seems like a logical solution in my opinion that would satisfy both sides with minimum damage to our economy in the long term. This honestly could be the diamond in the rough solution that lawmakers have been looking for with little success until now. However, I do need to mention some of the disadvantages of something like this, since I'm sure there are a lot of you who are concerned about us tapping into Social Security, especially if you currently receive those benefits or are close to that age. One point that has been brought up that is pretty valid is that this could be a very slippery slope. I mean, we've never tapped into Social Security before for something like this, but once we do it once, what's to stop us from doing it again and again down the road? And as a lot of you probably know, many believe that the Social Security benefits will actually run out entirely by 2037, so maybe tapping into these already depleted funds may not be the best idea. However, the amount that is being borrowed is being paid back through the foregone payments in the future, so there's really no concern in that regard. But this could be a very slippery slope that turns Social Security into the safety net during times of economic crisis. So we'll see what happens with that idea, but I do really think that this could be an awesome solution when combined with the direct payments from the HEROES Act. And while the recurring monthly payments that have been proposed from so many different bills would be nice, it's unlikely that this would be passed by the Senate since it would cost so much money. Plus, when Washington passed the CARES Act back at the end of March, they were already seeing the economic damage that the health crisis was causing, and they probably would have passed a recurring payment then rather than waiting until now. So what we're probably looking at is another one-time payment just like the $1,200 from the CARES Act, and on top of that, we will probably likely see a payroll tax cut down the road, and while that does have a lot of issues since people who are not working would not see any benefit at all, plus for most people it's not safe to go back to work yet, this could be a great incentive for people to go back to work once it is safe to do so. And I have a feeling right around mid-July we will see an interesting shift on that front as those $600 unemployment benefits begin to run out. I've talked to so many people who say that they can't even get their employees to come back to work since they're making more on unemployment than they were while working, and that's a pretty big problem. Not to mention that most Americans don't have a level of discretionary spending that allows them to support the economy outside of the necessities at the moment. It'll be very difficult for our economy to restart until people get back to work and have a level of discretionary spending again. But again, it's not possible for people to go back to work safely or go out shopping until the health crisis is resolved. And I want to make it crystal clear that the health crisis is the #1 priority in all of this. So we will probably see another $1,200 direct payment and a payroll tax cut down the road, and possibly this $5,000 benefit from Social Security as well. This would give the average citizen $6,200 plus the benefits of the payroll tax cut once it is safe for them to get back to work. And that $6,200 might sound like a lot, but remember that $5,000 of that would not be adding to our national deficit and is much more appealing to Senate Republicans as a result. So we're still waiting on the House to vote on the HEROES Act, which will likely happen on Friday or early next week at the absolute latest, but either the House or the Senate could include this idea under the HEROES Act. So if you want to stay up to date on what exactly is going on, then make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you know exactly when I post a new video. Also, don't forget to use the links in the description to get your free stocks from Webull and Robinhood, and hit the like button if you did enjoy today's video, since that's the easiest way for you to support my channel. Thank you so much for your time, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.